is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Gaelic Gridiron podcast. Well, the NFL is growing internationally at a massive, massive pace, particularly on this side of the Atlantic in Europe. And a man who is playing a key role in that development is none other than the recently enough appointed head of the NFL Academy in the UK, Mr. Lamonte Winston. And I'm delighted now to be joined by Lamont on the podcast. We had some technical difficulties getting you on, but we have you now. We're here, and I'm looking forward to having a great chat with you, Lamont.
Absolutely. Well, Jimmy, before we get started, I see that you're rocking Notre Dame right about now, right?
I am indeed.
So you're bringing everybody in Notre Dame is bringing it all out for the national championship, right?
It's been a long time coming. I'm excited to see where we end up in the final college football playoff rankings in a couple of days, but. There are rumors, I don't know if you've heard this, that Marcus Freeman might be headed for the NFL to the Chicago Bears. So hopefully he can bring us home a long-awaited title first.
Well, first things first, let's get that natty, right?
Absolutely. Lamont, you've been head of the NFL Academy in the UK now since April of 2023.
Yes, almost 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. But before that, you have over 40 years experience in the NFL. And in American football in general. Can you tell us a bit about your background and how you arrived at this position that you're in now?
Well, to be honest, Jimmy, this in America, you can play several sports, much like here in the UK and other parts of Europe. But football was my thing, and I've just been very blessed. And people say that, but truly blessed. I could not have planned my career. Okay, back when I was a young guy, absolutely no way. So it's a true blessing to have played football at a young age until I got into coaching. Coaching, got me into different parts of football, player personnel, and that's when I was with the Chiefs. I left the University of Nevada, where actually Coach Hagan and I were on the same coaching staff at Nevada. So we were coach mates. But when I left there, I went into the Chiefs. In player personnel, and that was a real exciting time. I was there for 17 years, and I got a chance to really, what a great way to go in the NFL, to be able to work for the Hunt family, to get a chance to know Lamar and his beautiful wife, Norma, and Clark and his wife, Tavia, and to work for them for 17 years. Ultimate sports people and just good humans. It was a great opportunity, and They entrusted me with a number of coaches along the way with the Chiefs with their players. So I kind of morphed in from, I coached for 12 years. Then I, did the player personnel piece. And then this whole player care space of player development started. And the league wanted to really provide the real services that are needed for our players people to transition into the National Football League and then transition out. It's all about finding that balance when you're in the league so you can perform at your highest. And so to be able, they allowed me to create with my staff, people that worked with me along the way, to build something that was needed for our players and our coaches in our whole organization. So from that, as we like to say in the league, you're going to go through a divorce or two with different teams. So the love affair ended through change. But I was able to actually, now look at this for a twist. I was born and raised in Oakland, California, born and raised a Raider fan. I get my professional opportunity with the Chiefs. The divorce happens, and Jimmy, you know what? I get to go work for the Raiders, right?
Dream team.
The dream team. Like who? How does that happen? So I was able to do that. Reggie McKenzie. I came in with Reggie McKenzie and Dennis Allen, and we've had some great coaches along the way in the Raiders. Fantastic organization as well, and to be able to do this work. So and then when that ended, which NFL stands for not for long for everybody. So, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing because you got to understand what you're getting yourself into. And it's never personal, it's business. And I understand that. And so I was given an opportunity. I was approached about the NFL Academy, didn't know nothing about it. We make our home in Palm Beach, Florida. And, got contacted through some people at the league office, Tracy Perlman being the main person who approached me with this opportunity. And more I read about it, did research about it. It sounded very interesting. My wife was pushing me to let's go do something different. But it took a long time the process to get hired, interview. It took about a year. And actually, I thought that it had just gone away. And then it came back, and then I went through the process, and then I came over for a visit. And, Jimmy, when you get around players, and these young men, it just stole my heart.
Yeah.
These young men from different countries, all these different accents, and you see them, and they have this dream of just playing American football at the highest level. And so it was at that point, it was pretty easy for a decision for me to say, you know what, we're going to come here and actually, be a part of it and help grow the academy and grow American football. But more than that, it's helping these young men with, attain their dreams. They all want to go to America and go to universities. Andy Quinn is a prime example. Lopez is another. Sanchez is another. But your Irish brethren who, different, but now they're there. So the academy has been great. We hired a great staff, a great support team with Coach Hagan and Allison Wyeth, who is actually our director of football operations. She's actually a two-time Olympian. So we were able to really wrap our players around elite people. And I think our partners at Loughborough College and Loughborough University has been fantastic. So, it's not work. It really is not. It's just I love to go there every day and put in for these young men because they trust us, Jimmy, with their lives. They trust us with everything. And so, yeah.
Well,
so
it certainly doesn't sound like work. It sounds like you're living the dream. I mean, it sounds like it truly is your passion. And of course, the mission of the academy is to provide a pathway for international athletes to play college football and ultimately potentially going to the NFL. So it's quite easy to see how your role fits into accomplishing them, helping them accomplish their dreams.
Well, Jimmy, again, and I every time I get a chance to visit with folks, I try to share it. And I tell our players, the dream is to go. You should go and want to do that. But we're also setting these young men up from, we have 70 young men right now from 19 different countries. They speak 28 different languages. But we're able to not only give them an opportunity, they can earn an opportunity for a possible scholarship, but they're going to get a university degree from one of the institutions in the United States. That's a game changer for the rest of their lives. It's a game changer for their families, a different level of experience, and for their country because they're paving pathways for other young boys and girls who are willing to dare and dream beyond the boundaries of their country. And I just think it's fantastic. And so our young men don't lose sight of that. I will not let them lose sight of that. So it really is love because now, Jimmy, I'm from Florida, or I live in Florida. I grew up in California. The winters here in the part of the world are a little different. So you have to be in love with it. So no, it really is. The academy is there for the right reasons. It's not about just playing ball because not everybody is going to play in the National Football League. Heck, that doesn't happen in America. So the reality of it is, how can you leverage American football, okay, to give you your best life? And if you're that one or two that gets into college, or 5 or 7, but you're that 1 or 2 that gets in the NFL, okay, then you know what? You have a responsibility, right, to those who come behind you to share that journey and talk about the realities of it. I like that one of my mentors back in California told me this in my young coaching life. He said, you know what? We have to teach our children to dream with their eyes open.
Yeah.
And think about that. Like we can all think about Notre Dame. I want to go to Notre Dame. I want to go to Michigan. I want to go all these different places. But are you willing to open your eye, dream with your eyes open, to see what it really takes to get there? And 'cause it takes a lot of endurance, takes a lot of trial, it takes a lot of sacrifice, and all those things are happening at a young age. Again, Jimmy, these guys are leaving countries, coming to the UK, leaving families and friends at a young age. And so, like I said, we have a great group of coaches and support team. Our UK office and our office in New York is very, very supportive. So we're about growing the game and teaching the game the right way and sharing it with the world.
So when you took on the role, and you mentioned, Lamonte, the long onboarding process or hiring process there of over a year, it must have given you quite a bit of time to think about what you wanted to achieve when you took on this role, and what were some of your goals. Can you tell us a bit about those and how you see your role in structuring the future of the NFL Academy?
Yeah, I think that this long onboarding piece, it gave me the time to think about, do I want to jump back in the National Football League? Number one. Having spent most of my professional life in the NFL, I know what the requirements are. I know what the standards are. I know what the expectations are. Was I ready to do that? Because you can't do that part of it with one foot in, one foot out. So I have to be all in. And after doing that and saying I'm ready, then and coming over here and seeing what the requirements were, and at the end of the day, it was like, okay, I can do this, and I want to do this. So I want to do it with a group of people, meaning our coaches and support staff, that we're all like-minded people. And after meeting people at Loughborough University and Loughborough College, who shared the same kind of vision, and they understood what we are trying to get to. Excuse me. So we can now say, yeah, you know what? At the bottom line is, we want our kids to graduate, get their diplomas from high school. We want them to be able to be in position to have options and opportunities to go play ball in America, and then also to have the GPAs to graduate and go into these universities being true student athletes, which is a little different than the European model and these academy models. You might get some education at levels, but really you're there to play, and you're there to elevate. Our model is a little different. It has to be education first, and so that part of it was an easy goal for me, and for us to talk about as a staff, as a benchmark, and to promise parents, like, if your kid they're going to get their diploma. If they get to a States, they're going to get their degree. If they stay and play at university level, we're going to make sure that we encourage them through our alumni program to help them, encourage them to finish. So, the football takes care of itself. Coach Hagan, it was finding a football coach that could teach. A lot of guys, and you watch NFL on Sunday, you watch college football, obviously, on Saturday. There's a lot of guys that know football, but can you teach it? Can you really teach it?
I mean, that's something that, through my own conversations with Andy Quinn, that he really emphasized, that at the NFL Academy, it's about that holistic approach to molding young men. Okay, the football is important, but even more important, or even more prominent, is setting them up for life afterwards. And you always hear the phrase that football builds character, or football is not actually about football, it's about life after football. So that seems to be a real point of emphasis in terms of player development at the academy.
Well, absolutely. And, again, my background in player development and player engagement in National Football League, I've kind of not dating myself, but, I was at the front end of that. And you start seeing, if it was something that was important from the commissioner at the time, Paul Tagliabue, and now Commissioner Goodell took that baton and even doubled down on it. If that's important for our NFL players and their families, it is certainly important for our high school kids. And we need to make sure that we're slowing down enough from the football part of it, that we're teaching those parts of it, and in some cases demanding some of it. I mean, we talk about, Coach Hagan always talks about being an academy man. What does that mean? But what does that really mean? Okay, there's football, but being an academy man is much more than that, right? And so we want to make sure that if they come through us, they come through the academy, that they understand that this is about relationships, maintaining relationships. This is about learning together in tough times for a common goal, for disappointments, for for big successes, and they do it together. And so we, again, taking these young men from these different countries doing it. I mean, tomorrow we're going to have a signing. We're going to sign 7 kids are going to sign, Jimmy. 7. How many high schools alone in America can say we had 7 guys signing scholarships tomorrow?
That's crazy. That's fantastic.
And,
It's testament to the work that yourself and Coach Hagan are doing there as well.
And of the 7, 6 of them are Division I.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's and Andy being one. He'll be our second guy at Boston College. His teammate Pape Sai is now at Boston College. So I mean, we feel that we know, and not being braggadocious or arrogant, just being factual, because we work really hard. We understand how to teach football and teach leadership and character development and personal responsibility collectively. We know how to do that, and we're proud of that. We work hard at it. And so, again, the academy is, if you're going to have these young men and women playing flag football, and then they'll be into tackle football, you want them to be able to see it, dream it, love it, dream with their eyes open, but then be able to bring people along with them. And that's the beautiful thing about American football. I mean, we're the only ones here at Loughborough University. There's no other sport, Jimmy. You tell me, who carries 70 players? We got 70 young men that live that we have to corral every day, right? I mean, but there's some uniqueness in that, and these guys coming from all over the world.
We'll get to Andy in a second, because you've spent quite a bit of time with him recently in the past couple of years throughout his time in the NFL Academy. But I want to talk about the growth of the NFL internationally, and especially on this side of the Atlantic. There's been a real focus on Europe recently through, I suppose, not only the nationality of players coming through. We've had Irish players, we've had German players, etc., but also the focus on now the increased focus from the league on Europe as a market and as a place for developing NFL talent. And the academy is now playing a genuinely crucial role in that growth. How do you see it growing and expanding in the near future? Is it here to stay, or is it just a trend?
No, it's definitely not a trend. The trend happened years ago with NFL Europe, and everybody was trying different things, and that this is here to stay. I think we've all figured out that and the NFL is a little late to the party, international party, I like to say, but the United States is not the only place that have elite, superior athletes that can be trained to play American football. Okay, and so we're at the part now where we want to expand. We know that, and you can watch basketball, you can watch baseball, you can watch all these different Olympic sports and see that we play in America, and there's talent all over the world. And so what the NFL is doing right now is saying, okay, for us to continue to grow, we need more talent. We need to always have more talent. Well, we know how to do it in the boundaries of our country. Let's go around the world and see what we can do. So that's what we're doing. And so it's here to stay. I think the fan interest is for real. Lot better experience. I mean, if you ask anybody that went to games at Wembley and some of those places, down the road, I mean, the experience today, every year it's different, and every year it's even better, right? Yeah. So it's here. And when the NFL decides, Jimmy, to do something, I have learned this. I have learned a few things. When they decide to do something, they're going to do it, and they're going to do it right. They're going to do it better than everybody else. And it's never a short stay. It is always a long game. And so there's some having relationships in that building in New York. There's some fantastically brilliant people, but they care about the growth of this game because we see what it does for people. It in cultures. It's changing. I mean, since I've been here, you go to a couple of games, and these fans will wear jerseys from 15 years ago. They don't care. But, they're rocking that jersey. And you just see the excitement, so it's here to stay, I think. And you see now, when 4 years ago, we do one game, we do two games. Okay, I think they did 4 last year. They're going to do 8 this year. So they're, again, doubling down on it's wanted, it's desired, and we know how to do it. And we know how to make sure that the fan experience is something that they can't get in other sports. And now, again, it's not about competing with Premier League soccer. And my almost 2 years here, they're king. There's no doubt. They're for real. And rugby, and both men and women's. I mean, it's amazing to me. However, in this particular sport, NFL is its own sport. And so we are making sure that our own sport in our own backyard, okay, is the premier of premier in our sport. So we want to make sure that fans enjoy it, understand it, get behind it, and we can coexist. You can have a Premier League team. You can have, what's your favorite team?
My favorite team, well, see, I'm a bit different in Lamonte. I prefer NFL first, so.
Okay.
But
okay. What's your favorite NFL team?
Favorite NFL team? I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers guy.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, I kind of know why. I mean, you kind of have to, right? But no, the Steelers.
Irish connection.
But you know what, though? And you know what? They are historically elite champions of the National Football League.
100%.
And that's why you pick them, right? The Raiders were the same way. The Chiefs are doing it right now. Okay, but it's just I think it's just there's enough room in the ocean for all of us to really thrive. Our young people, this flag initiative is great for us because we're able to teach kids, boys and girls at a young age, about the fundamentals of football, and then the academy provides a runway for them, right? We hope to establish a junior academy. That's on our radar. So we get kids, from 12 to 15-ish and getting them developed. So if they can come to us at 16, they already have 3 or 4 years of real American football. And then we give them a better chance to get to America as a college player. And then ultimately, we're giving them a longer runway with some history to, have what it takes to play in the National Football League, if, in fact, that becomes an opportunity for them.
Well, I think it would be highly remiss of us, after you mentioning him several times throughout our conversation so far, to not discuss one of your most recent notable alumni. He's on his way to sign for Boston College. The man who needs no real introduction, Andy Quinn. What an incredible story and what an incredible talent, right?
Yeah, I mean, we come in, we don't have a kicker. The first thing you got to find a quarterback. You got to find a kicker, right? And Andy, graced us. Athletic, long, talent. And again, what about this match? So his head coach is a special teams coach, okay, in the National Football League, in Coach Hagan. So he knows how to develop kickers, right? You get Andy. He's brought Andy along and got him into some things with some other people out there helping, but practice every day, giving him things that you give pro guys, teaching him how to really watch himself. I mean, he and Andy took to it, and Andy worked at it, and he made us a really good team because when it was time to kick a field goal, we didn't have to blink. Andy, can you get it? Yep, got it. Okay, let's go kick that thing. Right? And then turn around and be the punter. We need field position. Can you flip it, Andy? Got that, coach. Put that thing out there. So, we hope that, we don't hope, we know that he is going to be a great ambassador for other young kickers. And all of those out there who listening right now to this podcast, if you have young ones that can kick and would like to kick, please get them, have them go to our website at the NFLacademy.com. And let's Jimmy, we need some talent. I need more.
You already have you have a second Irish guy in there already at the minute, I believe. A young Cork man called Liam Deneen kicking the ball.
Liam is finding his way. Liam's learning that when you're in a program like ours, it gets better when you get in college, but it's kind of a lonely existence. You kind of practice with yourself. You kind of, and so he's a young kid. He's learning that, but he's having some breakthroughs. And again, he's tough. And we like that. He's resilient. He's coachable. And if he keeps at it, he'll have some opportunity ahead of him. Again, he's very young.
I mean, Ireland is definitely a vast pipeline and resource of kickers, talented kickers. Obviously, with our background in GA and rugby, but do you see it as a case where maybe in a few years the academy starts to get Irish players who are not necessarily specialists, but are O linemen, D linemen, skill positions? Is that something you're looking at?
Oh, absolutely. The cool thing about one of the cool things about being here is these countries, you get a chance to recruit DNA. I mean, if you want big people, you can go to Norway. If you want big people, I can go to Ireland. If you want linebacker types that are tough, I mean, you can go. You want speed, you can go. We can go anywhere. And these kids, put it this way, I even at Loughborough College, I walk the hallways, and I've never seen so many big kids in my life. Tall kids, like, where do these kids come from? So we're finding them everywhere. Yo-Yo, who's one of our offensive linemen last year, he's at University of Colorado, and he's playing. I mean, we have some young ones from Austria. We have one, Nico, who's from Germany. He's 6'7", he's 260 pounds, and he's 17 years old.
Crazy.
And he's not even the tallest tackle. Bruno is the tallest one. I mean, so we look for obviously measurables or because we have it, right? We look for measurables, but we look for guys who really want to learn, because when you grow up in America, you kind of been playing it, you kind of know it, you kind of become a little know-it-all. These young men have it, and they have to be really, really, really diligent listeners and learners. And we found that they'll do that. If something changes, they'll be like, Coach, why did we change practice today? Or why are we not having practice today? We want to be long. I mean, studying videotape. We've had to teach them the art of that. And they just suck it up because they want to learn. And so it's the recruiting process over here for us is never ending. It's nonstop. We want athletes. We know that rugby is a excellent crossover sport, because you don't have rugby players. You do not have to talk them into go hitting somebody. They just go do it, right? And it's boom. I love watching it because I'm like, these guys just run into each other. They don't care, but they're athletic, change of direction, strong, power-based, high intensity, high collision. Football is very high collision. And so, so it's open the door. We like to recruit any and everyone that can play at the standard at the academy. And it's not for everybody. We understand that. It really, this is not I want to come to the academy, I want to try football. You need to go try football somewhere else.
Before you get to the academy.
Yeah, exactly. And see if you can't like it, you have to love it. If we don't need guys that like football coming to the academy. We need young men who love football, because we all know we do certain things for love that we won't do for like.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so
Absolutely.
We want those young men that love the game, because the game will challenge you. The game will truly, it will test you in many, many ways. And so, some of our lads, even though they're used to the cold, these 2-hour practices at night and it's wet and they're like, what are we doing? And we have to get up and be at the gym in the morning at 6:15, right? 5 days a week. So
Yeah.
we live 3 days a week. We practice 5 days a week. So we always test their love relationship. Jimmy.
You definitely. I mean, I played football a long, long time ago, and you have to love it. You have to want to.
Yeah.
As soon as you lose that passion, it's over. You might,
Time to go.
for playing anyway. I think.
You know what? And I think that's the same thing in coaching. When it becomes a labor,
yeah,
it's time to go.
Yeah. I mean, So, and I'm conscious of your time, Lamonte. I don't want to keep you much longer, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time. It's a fascinating conversation. I have 2 questions that I want to put to you. Firstly is, I suppose, the opportunity that comes with the academy for playing games around the globe. And in 2023, you played in Ireland as part of the Global Ireland Football Tournament against Bonner and Prendy out of Philadelphia. And I know Pat Steenberg is a close friend of mine, and he'd kill me if I didn't bring this up. So firstly, how was that experience for your guys, and are they looking forward to coming back in 2025 for another Irish expedition?
Well, the experience that he provided was excellent. We wish we could have stayed longer, and partaken in the Notre Dame game. We wish that we would have gotten a chance. Our kids would have got a chance to experience that because they hadn't been to a major college game like that. However, we didn't win, and Bonner Prendy handled what they needed to handle.
Good side.
They got one. Hopefully, I'm saying that. Read it. Listeners, look at my face. They got one. Okay, so they won't catch us. The Bonner Prendys of the world won't catch us off guard again. But it was a great lesson for our young men. It was absolutely a great lesson.
A great game as well. I was watching that game closely. I was commentating. A fantastic back and forth game. I mean, I thought the academy were going to do it in the end.
Yeah, but the kids learned. It deepened our relationships with us because it really hurt. It deepened the relationship in terms of our coaches, right? It was so many positives. I mean, the kids came over on which I never had heard before. So they took a big giant barge where the bus goes on the barge and these guys are doing a walkthrough on the deck of the ship in the freaking ocean, bay, sea, whatever that is. I'm like, this is absolutely great. You can't make this up, Jimmy. So again, what Patrick put together was outstanding, and we look forward coming back there, and then but spending a little more time. I think our kids, we try to provide them a little bit of a cultural experience when they go places because, I mean, you only go around once, right? Absolutely. So we're hoping to do that again, and this time complete the process with Patrick with a W.
Fingers crossed, and we definitely look forward to welcoming the NFL Academy back and spreading the word. I mean, it's also a great recruiting opportunity and I know so many young men from different sporting backgrounds who are now getting into the sport of American football who would be perfectly suited for the academy program. But that's a different conversation.
Well, I will say this: as you spread the word, we want smart. Hopefully, I've given you a picture as to what kind of young men we like. Okay, smart, physical, fundamentally sound football players, right? Who do it all, right? And do whatever it takes to win and leave no doubt. So, any listeners out there, if you think you can play linebacker, if you're running back, offensive lineman, send us, contact us through our website, and then send us video, and we'll take an honest look and see if we can't get some more Irishmen to play this game and help us take to the next level. I will say this, and so as we are now, because of the summer successes we've had, we are now considered and seen as a Nike top 40 team. There's only 40 teams in America, and we're one of them.
Fantastic.
So we need to make sure we keep the recruiting coming. So come on, Irishmen, come to the academy.
We'll definitely spread the word, and I'll put the link to the application form in the description of this podcast as well. Lamonte, before I let you go, I have one question that I'd like to finish up with all of my guests, and it's a bit of a tricky one. So feel free to take your time and think for a couple of seconds before you answer. But you've had such a fantastic career in the world of American football. All the time in the NFL, your own athlete consulting group. But out of everything you've experienced, what would be your favorite football memory? If you can pick just one.
Here's a good question.
I'll give you a little bit of time to think.
There's what you see in front of you, and then there's what you see in hindsight. So if I can answer it this way, my best football memory is in hindsight, when a gentleman named Bob Hoyle at Albany High School gave a young person like me a chance to have his first coaching job. In hindsight, not knowing that seed will have brought me to this point right now. I think my biggest football moment is the players trusting me in the NFL. I think, from the first player on, the fact that they trust me with their lives is just a tremendous deal for me, and it's very important. For me and my brother. My brother Kevin Winston is the senior vice president for player affairs for the Carolina Panthers. So our family has been blessed when the NFL said they brought us into the family. So that's probably the greatest real-time football memory.
That's great. And you never know when you get your first opportunity where it could ever lead you. So hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Unbelievable.
Great. Well, listen, Lamonte, again, thank you so much for your time. It's been absolutely fascinating to chat with you and hear your stories and hear about what you've created over there in the NFL Academy UK. And hopefully we'll catch up when you're over in Dublin next.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on your show, listeners. Thank you for tolerating me. Again, this is we look at all opportunities to help us. And again, coaching these young men is just fantastic. And we're just so thrilled for Andy. And Lopez. It's great. It's great. It's a great thing's going to happen for those young people down the line.
Great. Thanks again, Lamonte.
All right. Thank you. Good night.